house party. We finally got some upbeat news on housing prices. Not housing sales, just the prices. So what's the real deal and where do we go from here? Super agent Dolly Lentz. If anybody knows, she knows. She's coming up in a Fox Business exclusive. She knows the real estate business from the ground up, top to bottom, sideways, every which way. Dolly is with us exclusively this hour. One thing rising, home prices. Does that mean now's the time to buy before they go even higher? Fox Business exclusive with the queen of New York real estate, Dolly Lentz. Coming up on Countdown to the Closing Bell, she chews glass for breakfast.
I should know.
Closing bell ringing in about 13 minutes. Owning your own home is part of the American dream. New data showing home prices are on the rise. And in this economy, many buyers are nervous about such a big investment. So we're bringing in the queen of New York real estate in an exclusive interview to talk about who should be looking for a home right now. Dolly Lentz exclusively next on Countdown to the Closing Bell. The latest S&P Case-Shiller index, though, actually showed a rebound in home prices, but the housing market may not be out of the woods just yet. Listen to what index co-author Robert Shiller told Fox Business earlier today.
We subsidize housing in many ways. The mortgage interest deduction, FHA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. This is government policy to support housing. But that's an expensive policy. And people are starting to worry that it might be withdrawn, at least partially withdrawn, and that will be a bad news for the housing market. So that's something else that's feeding into the anxiety now.
So the mere worry of that scaffolding or those support levels coming out from under the housing market, what does that really mean? My next guest says that while all of that government support has truly helped stabilize housing, there are significant challenges ahead with more than $7 billion in real estate sales. She knows what she's talking about. Dolly Lentz, Prudential Douglas Elliman Vice Chair, and she's joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive. Are you as worried as Dr. Shiller is?
Well, I'm concerned about many markets. The New York market's actually holding up well, but many other markets are not holding up well, even though Case-Shiller would say the New York market is one of the two that didn't hold up in April for them. But when I say New York, it's New York City specific, high-end New York City. I am concerned because real estate is totally a confidence game. People have no confidence. They're not buying property. And without jobs or a jobs bill or something where we get more employment and consumer confidence, we're not going to be in good stead for a while.
And the markets today certainly don't help the picture. Charlie, I don't know if we can pull up some of these indices right now, but we're at the lows of the session across the board, and this is awfully worrisome for anybody who's thinking of plunking down a big pile of cash, because you need that now. Obviously, the credit conditions aren't as good to buy a home, correct?
Credit is terrible. I mean, that really has to improve before we'll see total stabilization and certainly any price bump.
What is the one piece of housing data that people are not watching, but you say we should be watching?
We should be watching credit because there is no credit. The credit is so limited and so difficult to get that people really can't go out there and buy what they want to buy.
Can you give me an anecdote where somebody had 20% and they were still turned down?
Oh, yeah. I have plenty of people who had 20, 25, 30%.
Are you only seeing all cash deals now for high-end properties?
We're seeing cash deals where they finance via a private bank, so it's not really financing necessarily even on the property. It's kind of financing on their portfolios. It's other financing.
Three key headwinds that you talk about right now.
Inventory levels. Okay, even though we're reflecting good inventory levels, we're not reflecting all the shadow inventory. Banks are holding back lots of inventory. Those are not on the books yet. We don't see it out there. If that comes on the market, that could tank the market. That's the biggest one, I'd say, of all. And again, interest rates are very good now. If they don't remain good, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it almost doesn't help if you have ultra low interest rates, yet you've got a market like what we have on the screen today. Do you have clients who are looking at a market, checking it on their BlackBerries and saying, wait a minute, what am I doing?
Yeah, no question. And people, look, also with the dollar versus the euro, people, I'm talking them off ledges. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, when I bought that apartment, the euro was X and I was paying X for that apartment and now it's Y. I'm not into Y. And you have to keep them in the deal. It's really difficult.
How many people are leaving down payments behind and backing out of deals?
Less than before, because most people now are bought it during a bad market, so they understand that it was a bad market and they're still in a bad market. But we still have some layover from before.
You obviously have some high-end clients. Do they look at things differently, and what about your lower-end clients?
Well, the high-end clients do look at things differently. It's all about their needs, their demand. It's a different market. The lower-end clients, really, it's rent versus buy. Is it better for them to rent or to buy? The higher end, it's really more a luxury purchase, and they're saying, okay, I'd rather buy.
We should look at the home builders, and have they stopped dead in their tracks?
Well, the numbers are all bad. You know, new home starts, all of these numbers are bad.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Housing starts were bad. Existing home sales, new home sales were terrible.
All of them were terrible. All of them. So, yes, we're not out of the woods, for sure, even with all the government spending. And now we're without most of that government spending. So we'll see.
So who is a buyer today? What is the profile, if there is one?
Someone with a lot of money, a good job, pent-up demand.
That's like 4 people right now, Dolly.
Yeah. Few more than 4, thank God. People who were waiting, they were holding off to buy, and now they said, okay, well, it's not going to get better, I'm going to buy.
I have to ask you this because we were talking about it in advance. And it's always the real estate agents who hear about whether somebody's looking. LeBron James, because he becomes a free agent July 1st. And we know that Thursday, at least, the Knicks are going down in an airplane to go try and convince him in Akron, Ohio, to come to New York. Has anybody spotted LeBron James?
They've spotted him several places. He was spotted day before yesterday at a Greenwich Village condo.
Looking,
yes, looking and trying it out and making sure the ceilings were high enough. It was actually quite interesting.
LeBron James looking at a Greenwich Village condo. Okay, how much do they go for it in this?
The one he was particularly looking at is $12,950,000 ask.
Okay, how many of those deals are you doing lately?
Those are actually the deals we are doing. The 10, the 11, the 12, the 15. Those are the deals we're doing. What we're not doing is the bread and butter. The 2, the 3, the 4. Those are the people hesitating. The big deals actually are getting done. They were never huge numbers, but the numbers are still there.
Dolly, 2 years ago, I remember you telling us here on Fox Business that you had the proverbial Lehman Brother and Bear Stearns clients who one day were worth $400 million and the next day they were worth $8 million. Of course, everything's in perspective, but to go psychologically from knowing you had this much on paper to just that much, has that worked its way through the markets and is kind of washed through now?
No.
No,
because we're not seeing big numbers. So we're seeing high sales, meaning dollar-wise, but no volume. There's no depth and no volume.
Dolly Lentz giving us the straight talk. She's one of the few realtors who comes on and doesn't sit there and blow sunshine and rainbows around. I mean, you do give us the story of that it isn't all great right now, so we appreciate the honesty here.
Thank you for having me.
And you're coming back.
Thank you.
Dolly Lentz, the Vice Chair of Prudential Douglas Elliman. We've come back off the lows here. We're looking now at a loss of about 273 points for the Dow Jones Industrials.